What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this is a video following up on the one I released a couple days ago talking about Dricus Du Plessis reportedly being injured as per Kevin Iole. But of course, I first heard it from MMA Joey, so shout out to MMA Joey. But this is just a follow-up, as now it just seems worse and worse. More and more people are chiming in. Sports Illustrated just ran a story saying they also believe he is purportedly injured. Now, again, there is a tiny glimmer of hope which is that all of these stories seem to be coming from one sole source, from Kevin Iole. So in the chance that he has made a mistake or somehow got bad information, maybe, but he's such a veteran in the game and he's such a reliable source in general that I am getting more and more doubtful as time passes on. Sadly, we even have a quote now from Khamzat Chimaev, as we see right here on his Twitter. This is per Bloody Elbow. This guy, biggest bull, blank. Chimaev wrote alongside an emoji of someone putting their face in their hands. Now, again, Tiny Silver Lining says it is unclear if he's saying this about Du Plessis or possibly Iole in reaction to the report being false, but it says, however, a veteran of decades in the game, it is rare that Iole gets information like this wrong. So that's probably the reality of the situation, meaning that I think that this is probably true, and this fight, this incredible, amazing, perfect fight for Khamzat Chimaev to get the belt. I mean, who better to go up against than such a legend like DDP, who has just smashed everybody in his path? This would have been incredible. And unfortunately, and to have it at International Fight Week and in Vegas, as all the stars were aligning, where Khamzat, everybody was saying he couldn't get back into the U.S., and now it was finally going to happen. But alas, it seems that this is fading away. You know, I talked about it on Friday too. It's like the problem with this report is that DDP is somebody that has in the past, right, for UFC 300, when they wanted him to do a quick turnaround, he stood his ground. He wouldn't do it. There may have been another instance where he didn't step up on somewhat short notice to take a fight. Again, I can't remember exactly if I'm getting that right. Or it might have just been for UFC 300, but I think they wanted him to headline against Izzy for UFC 300, and he wouldn't do it, and he took his time. And I think he has upset people in the UFC brass because they want people when they want them. Understandably so, they have a business to run, but he won't do it, and he's not afraid to stand up to the UFC brass. And so, unfortunately, that makes me feel like I have to double down on the notion that this fight is no longer happening, at least not at International Fight Week. So here's what's been going on since. I think Caio Borralho, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, ranked number 6. He's a legend, part of the Fighting Nerds. He has made some tweets saying he's offering to fight Khamzat for an interim title. So let me give you my thoughts on what I think they should do if this is indeed the case. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So let's look at our middleweight rankings. So we've got Caio all the way down here at number 6, although he's been doing tremendously well, and he's got major buzz in this division. So is this a possible contender? Maybe. Obviously, it can't be Robert Whittaker. Izzy just lost to DDP. I don't think that would make so much sense. And then we've got Sean Strickland and Imavov at the top. So when we look at these different options for Khamzat, let me first start by saying I don't want to see an interim title fight. This is me personally, coming from the biased perspective of being a Khamzat fan, a super fan, if you will. I don't want to see him have to fight an interim title and later on fight Dricus Du Plessis. I think that if the injury that Du Plessis has right now is not horrible and he can recover by August or maybe in September, I'd rather just wait. We can have the fight delayed, but I want to see Khamzat go up for the undisputed. No interim, no nonsense. We've waited this long. We could wait a couple months more. I do not care to see him fight somebody else. Alternatively, if this is a serious injury, what I think would be awesome, again, from my biased perspective, I will admit, if it's something like it's going to take 6 months or 8 months or something like that to recover, they've done this in the past. And I know DDP fans are going to get mad. I'm only saying if it's a prolonged outage, a prolonged period of recovery where he's not going to be able to fight for a long period of time, have him vacate the title and then have him immediately come back and challenge. Again, if it's going to be a long time. I'm saying if it's going to be a relatively quick turnaround, let's push the fight. But if we can vacate and then we can have an undisputed title fight like we did before in the light heavyweight division. And who would potential contenders be? I know a lot of people are saying Kaio. I feel like what would make more sense would be Imavov after he just knocked out Izzy in their last fight. I think that would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be opposed to Sean Strickland stepping in there. I know people are going to go crazy on me on that, but the fan in me that loves the beef and loves the heat and loves the rivalry, the fact that they used to train together, Sean Strickland was ripping him to shreds in the media leading up to his fight against DDP, talking all sorts of smack. I think that would be an amazing grudge match if this could be something that's on the table. Again, I don't want it if it's going to be an interim title, but that's me personally. I'd rather see him go up there and just get an undisputed title, or if not, just wait for DDP. And I don't care if International Fight Week has to suffer as a result, and it won't be as sparkly and as awesome as we were hoping it would be, but I'm sure they can figure something else out. We've got a lot of other incredible superstars that we can slot in there, namely whether it's going to be Islam versus Ilya versus Oliveira. I think it's going to be Islam versus Ilya, though, especially if this fight is indeed falling apart. So there's going to be something good that they can create there. But I just wanted to say that from my perspective, I don't want to see an interim title. That does not interest me after how long we've waited for Khamzat Chimaev to finally get a title shot when I think as Khamzat fans, we feel like he could have won the title back in 2020 or 2021. And now it's already 2025 and he's about to get a shot. Now they're pushing it back to an interim. It's just not what I want and not what I'm interested in. I want to see him go for the title. We've waited. It's time. So either wait for Dricus, or if Dricus is out for an extended period of time, I don't see why they could not have him. I know people are going to get mad at me. So I'm only saying this if it's a long period of time, to have him vacate, have him fight for the undisputed, and then he can come back and challenge once he's recovered. If not, just wait. That's my 2 cents. I don't want to see him in interim title. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Love to hear it. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. PST for our regular show, and we will see you then. Thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.